Good morning. We will pay attention to the ledger accounts today. The cash receipts journal is given to us. In the bank, we receive money, therefore we will debit the bank account. Services rendered is an income, so we will credit services rendered, and we will credit capital and commission. So if we look at the totals, the amount that will be written on the debit side is 32,800, and all these that we will credit will also equal 32,800. So it's very important to remember that you still have to complete a double entry. Any entries in the sundry accounts column must be posted on the date of the transaction. So the capital account will be credited on the 1st, and the commission income will be credited on the 24th. The capital account will be credited with the 20,000 rand. The account that will be debited is the bank, so we will indicate that we can look for this double entry in the bank on the debit side, and we will show that it was posted from the cash receipts journal. The commission income will be credited with 800 rand, and this was on the 24th, and we will indicate that the double entry was in the bank and it was posted from your cash receipts journal. The folio number of commission income is N7. In the journal, you will indicate that this amount was posted to the N7 account and the capital was posted to the B1 account. Then we will post the totals at the end of the month, because totals are only determined on the last day of the month. So on the 30th of June, we will transfer the bank and services rendered. The totals in the bank column and services rendered will be posted to the ledger on the last day of the month, because totals are only posted on the last day. So bank will be debited to increase the money in the bank. Services rendered will be credited to increase the income. The bank account will be debited on June the 30th, and we will show that several accounts on the credit side will be credited. So you can either write the sundry accounts, or you can say total receipts. And we will indicate that it was posted from the cash receipts journal, and the bank increased on the debit side with 32,800 rand. In the services rendered account, we will credit on the 30th, and we will show that the account that was debited was the bank account. This is posted from my cash receipts journal, and the services increased with 12,000 rand. Income increases on the credit side. In the cash receipts journal, we will indicate that this amount was posted to B4 and the services was posted to N1. In the cash payments journal, all the amounts in the sundry accounts column will be posted on the date that the transaction took place, and the totals will be posted on the last day of the month. The bank paid out money, so the bank decreases on the credit side. All these other accounts will be debited, and if we add all the amounts on the debit side together, it will give us the same amount that we recorded in the bank on the credit side. So we will start, and we will post on the 2nd to the deposit electricity 400 rand. And on the 8th, we will show that the equipment account is debited with 1,400. The deposit Electricity will post it to the debit side on the 2nd, indicating that the bank account was credited. This was posted from the cash payments journal, 400 Rand. Deposit on electricity is an asset because you get this money back when you move out of the building and you ask it back from the city council. The equipment will be posted on June the 8th, indicating that the account that was credited was bank. Posted from the cash payments journal, 1,400 Rand. And we will indicate that we transferred this to the deposit B2 account and to the B3 account. Rent expense will be posted on the 11th. Telephone will be posted on the 19th, and postage will also be posted on the 19th. On June the 11th, we will record in the rent expense account that this was posted to the credit side of the bank account, posted from the cash payments journal, and rent increased expenses on the debit side with 830. The telephone account will be debited on the 19th, indicating that the bank account is credited. Cash payments journal, 280 Rand. And postage will also be on the 19th, and we will show that the bank is credited with 80 Rand. And then we will use these folio numbers to show that we've posted it to the ledger accounts. We will show the folio numbers between the amount and the word to indicate it was posted. Then the bank account will be debited, service parts and wages will be credited with the total amounts at the end of the month. We will credit the bank account to indicate that the money in the bank decreased with the total amount at the end of the month. And you can either write total payments or you can write sundry accounts to indicate that it was transferred to different accounts. Indicate that it was posted from the cash payments journal and the money in the bank reduced with 16,350. And then we will show that the service parts increased on the debit side. On June the 30th, the account credited was your bank account. It's posted from the cash payments journal, and the amount for service parts increased with 11,800. Wages will also increase on the debit side on the 30th. The bank account was credited. Cash payments journal, 1,560 Rand. At the end of the month, we will complete a trial balance to determine if our debits and credits are the same. Because these three top accounts only have one amount in them, that is automatically your balance. You don't have to balance the accounts. So we will indicate in capital has a credit balance of 20, deposit electricity 400, and equipment 1,400. Okay, the capital balance is on the credit side, 20,000 Rand. The deposit electricity has a debit balance of 400, and the equipment has a debit balance of 1,400. The bank account has amounts on both sides. That means that we have to calculate a balance. So we will add up the debit side, indicating that the amount on the debit side is 32,800. Therefore, the total on the credit side must also be 32,800. These two totals must always be on the same line. The totals must always be the same, and you are not allowed to write any words next to the total. So we will have to work out what is the difference between the debit and credit side, and that will be my balance carried down. So I take the 32,800 and I subtract the 16,350, and that gives me 16,450. Then on the first day of the next month, so on July the 1st, we will bring down this balance on the debit side, and we will indicate that we start the next month with an amount of 16,450 on the debit side of the bank. So the bank balance will be on the debit side because the amount brought down was on the debit side. Services rendered will be on the credit side, rent expense on the debit side, service parts on the debit side. So all the expenses will be recorded on the debit side of the trial balance, and the services rendered and commission income will be recorded on the credit side. The bank balance was brought down on the debit side, so that balance will be shown in the trial balance on the debit side. Services rendered is an income. Income always have credit balances. The following accounts will have debit balances because it is expenses, and expenses always have debit balances. So all the amounts that was on the debit side of the ledger will be shown on the debit side of the trial balance. Commission income will have a credit balance. And if we finish with the trial balance and we add up the debit side and the credit side, the two totals must be the same. If they're not the same, then it indicates that you made a mistake and you will have to go and look for the mistake. So it can either be that it's an adding mistake in the subsidiary journals, or that you didn't show an amount in two columns in the subsidiary journals, or that you posted it incorrectly to the ledger. What did we learn? Money received is recorded in the analysis of receipts column, that is like a till. At the end of the day, we take all the money out of the till and we transfer it to the bank column, because we will only go to the bank once a day to deposit money. A direct deposit means that they put the money directly into the bank, so the money was never in the business, and therefore it cannot be recorded in the analysis of receipts column. The amount on the check is recorded in the bank column. So if one check is used to pay several things, it means that you will make the split in the other columns to indicate which expenses or assets were paid for, but the amount in the bank column must be the amount on the check. The amount that you write in the bank column must also be recorded in another column to complete your double entry. Amounts in the sundry accounts column is posted to the ledger account on the date of the transaction. Totals are posted on the last day of the month. Debit balances in the ledger will be shown on the debit side of the trial balance, and credit balances in the ledger will be shown on the credit side of the trial balance.